that you came here to chill with me. I appreciate you. Breaking news. Breaking news. Yeah, Sanctuary War, Thursday, December the 19th, 2024. Two people kidnapped and tortured in Colorado apartment. They got away by telling their abductors that they wouldn't tell the police. Also, House Border Security Caucus briefing. They're not too happy with the Biden administration right now. Supreme Court also is looking into the TikTok banning. Then we got another ethics group who's looking into and have information on Matt Gaetz and is basically breaking out the report. That and other news. Also, at the end of it, we got some ICE information on how they actually go about ascertaining and going about getting people. That and more news on the bottom line. It's your boy Bugatti NYC, and like I always tell you, you couldn't win anywhere. But the fact of the matter that you came here to chill with me, I appreciate you. Check out the website, www.drinkbigdrip.com. Let's get into it.
Immigrants from Venezuela were forced against their will to move from one unit at the edge of Lowry Apartments to another, while the suspects burglarized their home.
The victims were held against their will. They were actually bound, both the male and the female. They were pistol whipped, they were beat, they were victimized, they were terrorized.
Chief Chamberlain says the victims convinced the perpetrators to let them go by telling them they would not notify police. When they got to safety, they told police what they had just endured. Chief Chamberlain says when they arrived to the apartment complex, they found 15 individuals believed to be connected with the kidnapping and torture plot. All were arrested, and police are working with Homeland Security and Immigration and Customs Enforcement to identify them.
The bad part about this case is we already knew about this. This building and apartment complex had already been taken over months ago. It had already been reported where they'd taken over the complex. Not only taking over the complex, but they were taking rent from people. So basically the management and the building owners couldn't do anything about it. Call police, and until now, it seemed as if it got to a point where people are now finally getting fed up. And look what's going on. No more BS in Colorado.
Colorado Governor Jared Polis reacted to the situation, providing a statement to ABC Denver congratulating Aurora and its police department, noting that the state added staff and resources to the task force investigating Tren de Aragua's links to the city after meeting.
Now this right here is what I'm talking about. This isn't yesterday. This isn't as a result of, yesterday. They didn't go do this right here with this GUN, try to go into this apartment yesterday. This was not yesterday. This was months ago, where they'd already been terrorizing and torturing people that lived in this complex. Come to find out that some people are paying $2,500, $3,000 a month, and then you gotta live up the street or around the corner or in a complex with people like this. This is the frustrating part, and why ICE has to get these people out of our country, because it's not safe. I don't care about all you guys whistling, oh, it's not fair, what's going on at the border. Why would you feel sorry for people like this? And not only that, but they ripped out these people's fingernails. It wasn't just like a torture, they're saying torture. For 4 hours, they had these people tortured.
With federal officials this summer. He also called for more public safety investments in the upcoming legislative session to combat crime.
Like, who are you? Who do they think they are? Like, these are some Bills nilch ass dudes. Like, if I was to have one-on-ones with each and every one of them, they couldn't fight. They couldn't beat me without these guns. They couldn't have a fair fight with me without the numbers that they're in. So what I'm saying is we got to get rid of them and their ussy to be doing something like this. And how dare us allow people like this or something like this to go on in our country? Yo, where y'all at, man? Yo, take care of this. Like, for real, this is crazy.
And urged lawmakers to approve the necessary funding to make Colorado safer. Meanwhile, Aurora city officials also provided a statement to ABC Denver. putting the blame on CBZ Management, the company that owns the Edge of Lowry apartment complex, saying in part the company's chosen absence and abject neglect of their own properties for years and their pattern of ignoring and rejecting the city's various offers to expedite a resolution in recent months have in part created an environment that has allowed criminal activity to flourish time and again, irrespective of who is committing the crime.
So the officials and the police are basically trying to blame the building management. No, sorry, I can't accept that. That's like saying the manager. No, it just has nothing to do with it. Yeah, they might be accepting them in those apartments. That's another a major issue. But when it comes down to the policing and getting them people out of there and sending cars around, does anybody know about the policing in Aurora? How about the amount of police that they have, the amount of patrol that's going on? Does anybody know about how many police that they have? Because in reality, a lot of these neighborhoods and a lot of these states and cities are suffering from a lack of police coverage and a lack of police cars. The police station that I know only has 4 cars to service the whole area, and that's in New York City. How could 4 police cars service a whole area that's needed to be patrolled? They need more police. Call me what you want. You need more police.
CBZ Management claimed months ago that Tren de Aragua gang members were preventing their employees from making necessary repairs at the buildings and creating a dangerous and hostile environment.
Now, that could also be true. How would you be able to go fix something in a building if you go there and you got all of these guys that's telling you can't come in the building to work? I know places that's not too far from me that management will not tell these guys to do nothing. They had to basically do a deal with the guys in the building and the guys that were doing what they were doing in order for them to be able to operate and function. It's to the point where these guys are part of the building infrastructure. And if you get an apartment in that building, you just have to understand that that's going on in there. Police know about it and everything. So what can a management company do to alleviate or to solve this situation if the police are not helping or if the police force don't have enough cops?
A spokesperson for CBZ said the city allowed Tren de Aragua to take over the apartment complex. Earlier this month, CBZ and the city of Aurora agreed to close the Edge of Lowry apartment complex. However, it's unclear when that will happen.
So now they're saying that they got to close it all together because of the fact that management can't do nothing about it at all to solve the problem, and the police basically can't do nothing about it. And yesterday, here is like a situation with the border. These are the House Border Security Caucuses. They had a briefing yesterday, and they slammed the Biden administration on how he's taking about, letting people into the country. They're not really happy about it. Here's a small area of what they covered. Here we go.
The difference between the Biden administration, the hard left, the radical left, President Trump, and average everyday Americans who can see the difference even though mainstream media refuses to report on it. Now, mainstream media and legacy media can finally be a great partner with the truth and the American people. Right now, as we all stand here, thanks to Andy Biggs and Brian Babin working throughout this whole process of the Biden administration. Right now, as we stand here, President Biden's selling off sections of the border wall that have been sitting rotting in the desert, selling them off for pennies on the dollar.
Now, we covered this yesterday. I think we actually had some video footage, some aerial footage, and we saw some of the materials and some of the trucks that's rolling off with some of these actual pieces of steel. And as a lot of people noted, yeah, maybe it was rusted, but if you know metal, it's gonna rust, but it still can stand intact and still can do the job that it was basically set to do. So what they're doing is doubling down right now on what they saw and basically reporting on, the bottom line of what's going on with the border wall, the materials that are being sold, and their summation of what's going on with it.
The contrast is that President Trump wants to secure the border, and just like you lock your home, and just like there's a wall or a fence around the White House, part of the security of that is making sure the wrong people don't just walk in. But right now, President Biden is selling off that, making sure that the American taxpayer has to pay more to secure their own country. That's that.
So now that's what I wanted to ask you guys about. In the comments, no matter what, no matter how many people here, how do you feel about having to pay more for these pieces of metal and steel that are being sold off for $5 on the dollar? $5, yeah, 5 cents on the dollar. That's basically what the price is if you go to the government website, which is selling these materials. And my question is, what is this for? Yes, we read something yesterday that said a lot of the covered materials, you know, have to go back or have to be, you know, sent to a certain place by a certain amount of time. But like I said, when you buy something 3 years ago, 4 years ago versus today, it's going to have a much greater price because yesterday's price is not today's price. And I'm quoting Fat Joe on that one.
That's the contrast. And right now, while for years, colleagues on the other side of the aisle went and cried about the poor people that came here, the children being separated, it was their policies that separated the children. It was their inhumanity that had put, 230 to 300,000 lost children into the United States of America to be trafficked. Can you imagine the horror? And they know it's been going on.
So now that's kind of true as well because I've been by the Roosevelt Hotel in New York City. There's kids walking around alone by themselves. There's like 14-year-olds, there's 15-year-olds. There's actually some juvenile gangs that's hanging out in Times Square. And they're part of these cartels because they have to go out and do certain crimes in order to bring money back, in order for them to be safe, and for their families to be safe. So this is going on in the United States. I mean, it is. It definitely is.
Known all along when they send these children to post office boxes or warehouses or something like that, that no one in their family is there to greet them. They've known all along. That is the contrast between humanity and inhumanity. And it is time for legacy media, for the press in general, to tell the true story about the horror of just wide open borders and the inhumanity of it. And we're here to say that we stand for our country, the American citizens, because we all want to help. We all know people want to come to America for a better life, but there's a process by which they do that. And immigration first has to be great for America.
And what do you guys think about that? The process of actually getting to the United States? Because I was reading in the comments of one of my videos. I think it had something to do with this, of course, because it's a big hot topic. And one gentleman had said that his wife, it took her 10 years to get, the ability in order to be a citizen. And now that she's become a citizen, she feels cheated because she went through all of that. And you got all of these immigrants that's coming in illegally. How you guys doing today? Let's check these comments and see who we got in here. God bless us all. Thanks for coming in. Ghost Lord. In case no one has said this to you recently, thank you for being you. Remember, you are loved. Thank you. Michael Wigman, his message is retracted. But Ghost Lord, and you're the reason why I do this. Because it doesn't matter if we get millions of views. It doesn't matter if we get thousands of views. It doesn't matter if we get one. As long as we can communicate and share information. And what we do with this information is we think like smart human beings, and then we come up with our solutions and how we're going to go about moving forward in life, because that's what it's about. It's not about Republican or Democrat or independent or none of that. That's just part of our lives. But our lives is the main part in living a certain way and up to a certain standard. I appreciate you and I love you and I thank you for the compliment as well. Let's keep it going, y'all. We've also got today, the Supreme Court is looking into the banning of TikTok. Let's see how this video works out for us, because it seems as if, TikTok is being is a hot topic right now. It's always been a hot topic because of the fact that everybody's on there doing dances, doing their, getting their hustle on and commercials and stuff like that. But at the same time, they're saying that a very not so nice part of the Chinese administration owns part of TikTok, and they can further get information, and they're probably watching us through TikTok. Also, if you guys don't know, also DJI, that's another company that makes the drones. That's another company that has a big issue right now because one of our senators basically doesn't want us to buy drones from China. Think about it again. They can map out our land with the drones going over the land. So this is a big topic right now, especially when you got people that we're not exactly friends with. China being so.
And TikTok if it's not sold to.
Okay, we got a commercial.
Dessert
You don't
best
want
eggs, especially when they're Eggland's best. Tastes so deliciously fresh, with better nutrition too. We love our eggs any style.
We're gonna give them their love. We're gonna give them their love.
Eggland's best.
The Supreme Court is set to hear arguments over a law that would ban TikTok if it's not sold to an American company. The move comes after TikTok filed an emergency appeal asking the court to block the law. ABC's Elizabeth Schulze is following the late-breaking details for us. Elizabeth, how major of a development is this, and what can we expect when the Supreme Court takes up the case?
This is an expedited timeline for this case, Phil, where the Supreme Court says it will hear arguments over this TikTok ban on January 10th, and that is just 9 days before the federal ban is set to take effect. Now, notably, in this very short order that we got today from the Supreme Court, they say that they're going to be hearing really the merits of this case. They're going to be hearing arguments over whether the ban itself is constitutional. TikTok has, of course, argued that it's not, so they're going to be rehearing what the lower court in D.C. already said the TikTok ban stands. So this is a very quick timeline for a decision like this. We don't know, Phil, at this point, if the Supreme Court would come out with any sort of decision before the ban is set to take effect within just 9 days of it.
Now I want to know, how do you guys feel about TikTok being banned? Me, y'all can call me a hater, but I don't like TikTok probably because I don't know how to use it, and probably because it doesn't give me what I need. And then I can't even go live. I don't understand it. So I don't really care what happens to it, and it's less of work that I have to do because so many people are just looking at it like some sort of light, and it just has to be, you know, a part of your marketing and your marketing scheme. If it could be alleviated and banned from the United States, I really don't care, and I'm gonna be honest with you guys personally, and that's my right. Like I said, I can't even go to make videos or anything go live. You have to have like 1,000 video watch hours and all of that. And it's just too much work for me. So I'm straight. No, thank you. But for y'all, if y'all like it and y'all want to fight for it, that's why you're in a free country like the United States. But me, I'm good. Don't like it. I'm straight. And I'm kind of really thinking about what they're saying. The reason is leading towards it being not good for us to, you know, give our people that we're not so cool with information about us, you know? It's not that good to be having that. That's like you letting someone know, you know, your personal information, your ins and outs, and you don't even like that person. So why are you giving this person access like that? So think of it like that.
So as of now, high stakes hearing, no doubt about it, on a Friday, which is also rare for the Supreme Court on January 10th.
Right, something you'll be watching for us as well. Elizabeth, before you go, I just want to talk about the Fed quickly. We could see another round of interest rate cuts today. What are you expecting?
Oh yeah, that's already been talked about. This is old news, so I'm not going into that. But yeah, TikTok, y'all. TikTok. TikTok. Your time is ticking away. TikTok is definitely ticking away with the time. Also, breaking news right now. We got Matt Gaetz. The House Ethics Committee is releasing the report on Matt Gaetz. They've already made a summation, and they figured out, you know, as much information as they felt like that they wanted to dive into. They've got a report. And what's being said is it's kind of strange because he's no longer a senator, but why are they still, you know, bringing the information forward? It has to do with SEX, with, you know, young, you know, whatever, but that's probably why, but it's also could be a partisan issue as well. So let's just dive into this and see what's going on with this.
As NBC News has learned, the House Ethics Committee plans to release its report into now former Congressman Matt Gaetz. Joining us now, NBC's Ryan Nobles and Ali Vitale, both on Capitol Hill, and Brendan Buck, former press secretary to former House Speakers Boehner and Ryan. He's also an MSNBC political analyst. So let's start right, Ryan, with what we know about this committee plans to release this report.
Yeah, Jose, this is quite a bit of an about-face by the House Ethics Committee, which has wrestled with this question about whether or not it was appropriate for them to release this report into former Congressman Matt Gaetz, even though he was no longer a member of the body in which they have jurisdiction. Of course, comes after the committee, which had been working on this report for several years, was getting prepared to release this report at the end of the year, but then were thrown a curveball when Gaetz was named as Donald Trump's pick to become the next Attorney General. Gaetz then subsequently resigned from Congress, leaving the Ethics Committee in a bit of limbo. While there is some precedent for the Ethics Committee to release report of former members, that's generally not their policy, and it's
I promised I would look into this, and this is why I'm doing this today, because I did say that I'm going to be fair. And I have questions about this, Mr. Gaetz. Like, why would you automatically resign? Why would you not take the position? Yes, I know you have charges coming against you, and you don't want to shine that type of light on the incoming administration. But if you're innocent, why don't you just stand and fight?
something that they don't do very often. There was a push and pull between Republicans and Democrats on the panel. The House Speaker, Mike Johnson, got involved, said that he believed that it was not appropriate for them to release this report. But then as Gaetz began his process through the confirmation on the Senate side, Republican senators made it very clear that they wanted to see this report before making a decision as to what.
Yeah, because if you're going through a confirmation, they have to bring everything out. They're going to bring everything out. And if you have, some early or recent situations where you're being questioned for crimes that may be against minors, that's going to be premier something that they want to look into. So why would you not think that they're going to look into something like that? And that's another reason why he's saying he backed out and decided not to run, not to take the position.
Whether or not they were going to vote yes or no on his confirmation. Gaetz then took the story in another turn by pulling himself out of the running for Attorney General and then making it clear he would not return to Congress even though he had won re-election, and the Ethics Committee was left with a decision to make. Initially, they had a meeting, decided they weren't prepared to release the report. That forced the hand of some Democrats in Congress who put a resolution on the floor for the whole House to vote on whether or not they should release the report. Republicans voted to refer that back to the Ethics Committee, and now we're learning today that when the Ethics Committee last met, they made the formal and final decision to release the report. Jose, we expect the report to be released sometime at the end of this week after they finish all the other business that needs to be done before they leave on their holiday break.
What do you guys think about this? Matt Gaetz, where there's smoke, there's fire. More than one person's making accusations. I'd like to know what my guys are thinking and what my family members are thinking on here. What do you guys think? Okay, we got Mary Piccone. I don't like that guy. But he doesn't have any cases. The DOJ did an investigation and they threw them out. He didn't want to turn it into a circus for Trump. That's what a lot of people are saying. That's what a lot of people are saying. That he didn't want to turn it into a circus and make that the bottom line of why people, do your research. The investigation exonerated him of everything again. I do not like this guy, so I'm not defending him. I'm just stating fact. I will do some investigating, and I said that. So thank you. I will. Okay, Marty. I like what you're doing. I'm just trying to maybe give you a little bit more information, but I like your style. Keep doing what you're doing, my man. Thank you. I like you guys too. I actually love you because if it wasn't for you, I wouldn't be able to do this and I wouldn't keep doing it. So that means that we're going to get some investigation going into Matt Gaetz. I also want to look into the other investigation. There's another one where some actual information has finally been given out. And that's something that I've been doing some research too. So we might just do like a research day. And this is something that we can actually keep and not have it as a live if you guys decide that you ever want to go watch some videos instead of just lives. But let's keep it going.
We will finally see the results of this exhaustive report that the House Ethics Committee has on former Congressman Matt Gaetz.
Ali, any reaction or any word from the former congressman?
Certainly, Jose. We've seen Gaetz, and one of his central premises in the tweet that he sent out was that he doesn't have a chance to debate or rebut the things that are going to be in this report that we can now say will be released at some point in the near future. But part of what Gaetz says in a very lengthy statement posted to social media was that he has been investigated before. Certainly that's true, including by the Ethics Committee. This has been an on and off investigation into various ethical quandaries that the committee has ultimately not pursued. But he writes in part, this is from Gaetz, "I was charged with nothing, fully exonerated, not even a campaign finance violation, and the people investigating me hated me." He then goes on at a later point to talk about, quote, "In my single days, I often sent funds to women I dated. I never had sexual contact with someone under 18, he writes, and he says any claim that I would be destroyed in court, which is why no such claim was ever made. He then goes on to make a point at the end that while it's embarrassing in his words, but not criminal, that he, in his words, probably partied, womanized, drank, and smoked more than I ever should earlier in life. I live a different life now." And then he ends with a point about never voting for continuing resolutions, which of course brings us nice back to a bookend of what Congress's actual business before the end of the year should be, which is keeping the lights on and funding the government. But certainly for Gaetz, a robust rebuttal online, and the fact that this report now could come out. And I do think it's important for us to continue to underscore, Ryan laid out so well the landscape here on Capitol Hill and the back and forth push and pull over whether or not to release a report about a member who is no longer a member. He's right to point out that there's precedent for that, but I also think we have gotten rare views, sometimes to the chagrin of members on the Ethics Committee, who all take a vow not to leak, not to talk about what happens behind closed doors in their meetings. This is really one of the last committees that has that air of traditionalism to it. The idea that what happens in the room stays in the room. We don't often get insight into the decisions that ethics has made, what investigations they are pursuing, until they actually decide to release it and say so that...
Okay, all right. I like you're very descriptive and you hit the nail on the head. Yeah, you definitely did. And it's a very robust and a very serious topic, and it's something that we all need to look into because it's going on right now. Also, wanted you guys to see how ICE operates. Right now, ICE is getting ready to start assembling. They're about to start hitting a lot of states, as you already see they're already doing. But this is a little insight into the immigration and enforcement operation. Yeah, they're about $230 million behind budget, which means that they actually need funding. But maybe when Trump comes into office, he's going to give them some monetary towards, ICE. I mean, everybody else getting money from the government. Why not, right? Check it out.
The operation begins before dawn. Agents with ICE, Immigration and Customs Enforcement, who asked us to conceal their identities, gearing up at a parking lot in suburban Boston. We're along for the ride.
We don't do large-scale roundups. Every individual that's here today has come to our attention because they've been arrested by a local municipality for a felony or an egregious crime.
So after several hours of waiting, they just found one of their targets and we're on the move. When we arrive, we see an immigrant from the Dominican Republic who ICE says is here illegally and is a convicted sex offender.
Question. Sanctuary cities. Is it okay for him to stay? People that's so nice and don't want people to be deported. My question is, you heard what he's already been locked up for. You heard he's not supposed to be here. How you guys feel about this guy? Let's get back to some more comments. Mr. Howell, let's not forget Ted Cruz and his victory. Okay, Mr. Howell said, let's not forget Ted Cruz and his victory.
He tells me he came to the U.S. for a better way of life and denies the charges against him. He's led away in handcuffs. ICE agents have been watching this particular subject for at least a week. On this day, it took about 16 ICE agents to arrest 5 immigrants who ICE says are undocumented, have criminal records, and had been released on bail by local jurisdictions instead of being turned over to ICE.
So now when you're arrested and you're an illegal, you're supposed to be deported and you're supposed to be picked up by ICE. But if you're not and you're in a sanctuary city, they let you out, you'd be able to go home and you'd be able to do whatever you got to do just like a normal citizen. And you, I guess, have to fight the case from the street is what everybody calls it. But what ICE and what Tom Homan is trying to do now is to make it so ICE agents can go right into the prisons or the jails and take these people out, deal with the other side of the case them already being here illegally, and then thereby using that tactic to send them back where they originally came from. So that's what this part is about.
Each requiring 40 to 80 hours of surveillance beforehand. Do you have enough resources to do this?
No, we don't. And that's one of the problems that, when jurisdictions don't cooperate with us, we have to go out into the community, which puts our officers at risk.
But these are the waning days of the Biden administration. President-elect Trump won, pledging to do much more, including mass deportations. And after Democratic city and state officials vowed to block Trump's deportation plan, incoming border czar Tom Homan is doubling down with this warning.
If they cross that line and knowingly harbor and conceal illegal alien, well, I'm going to seek prosecution.
I'm concerned of what a mass deportation would look like.
Attorney Valerie Napier is an immigrant advocate who says calls to her clinic have tripled since Trump was reelected.
What do you say to those people who voted for Donald Trump and wanted a crackdown in the immigration system?
And not everyone is a criminal.
We pressed ICE about its current mission. There are some who fear that ICE will also arrest, immigrants that are here that may not have criminal records. To that, you say what?
To that, what we're focused on is obviously public safety, national security threats. But then there are those two that have exhausted all legal means. In the end, they've been ordered legally removed from the United States, and we'll go ahead and effect those removal orders.
So that's the part where they're saying they will remove your abuela or your auntie or your uncle that's here illegally. If they get caught up in a sweep, meaning a bust in some sort of area where there's a lot of ICE activity or somebody else is being arrested, they're going to be detained, and 9 times out of 10, if, like he said, they've exhausted all of their legal means of staying in the country legally, 9 times out of 10, they will be deported.
Two U.S. officials tell NBC News that even before any mass deportation plans, ICE is already facing a budget shortfall of $230 million.
Thanks for watching.
Yeah, so yeah, I'm gonna say the same thing in a minute, but I do want to wrap it up and say, yo, look, none of the information that I'm bringing you guys is personal. It's all information for us to know what's happening and what's going on in certain places. Also for American citizens to get things from another different perspective and another view. I try to go to more than one platform and pool the information so that it's not just one-sided. So, with that being said, like I always tell you, you could have went anywhere. But the fact of the matter that you came here to chill with me on the bottom line, your boy BOOGOTTINYC, I appreciate you. Please like if you appreciate the content. I'd love for more of you guys to subscribe. I do answer your comments, so even if you leave comments later, I'm going to pay attention to it. But until the next time, which is tomorrow, like I always tell you, you could have went anywhere. But the fact of the matter that you came here to chill with me, I appreciate you. Get 'em! 1.